Coming up on Network Africa, Sudan to seek international help to investigate Monday's assassination attempt on Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok. Relatives of victims of the 2019 Ethiopian 737 MAX aircraft crash mark 1 year after the tragedy. Plus, Burkina Faso confirms its first 2 new cases of coronavirus. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Layo Adegoke. We begin in Sudan, where the Sovereign Council has condemned the assassination attempt on the country's Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, announcing that it would seek international help to investigate the attack. Mr. Hamdok's motorcade was targeted with explosives as well as automatic weapons on Monday, but no one was hurt in the attack. The former UN economist was appointed prime minister last year after the army had ousted former President Omar al-Bashir. The situation in Sudan has been volatile, and so many once powerful personalities continue to see their influence eroded as the country continues a transformation to democracy. We continue our coronavirus coverage in Burkina Faso, where the Health Ministry has confirmed 2 new cases, the first reported in the country. The patients are a Burkinabe couple who recently returned from France in February. Health Minister Claudine Louget says both patients tested positive for the virus and have been placed in isolation. A third person who was reportedly in close contact with the couple has also been placed under observation. Burkina Faso becomes the 6th sub-Saharan African country to report positive tests for coronavirus. Latest figures indicate there are now 100 confirmed coronavirus cases across Africa. Well, back here in Nigeria, the Lagos state government has given the names of 2 individuals that had contact with the Italian index case of coronavirus, while giving an update on a new case of COVID-19 recorded as one of the close contacts of the Italian index case. The Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, asked the media to be of assistance in locating Enweluta Godfrey and Salami Abiodun Sadiq, both male. He says the federal and state Ministry of Health is looking for the 2 individuals who were on the same flight with the Italian. According to the professor, the state decided to make the names public due to government's inability to trace them based on the contact information they gave when boarding the plane.
I don't think there is cause for alarm. Lagos has been handling this very well, as is other states in Nigeria and federal. Our approach is to keep life and business going as usual, and to make sure that we minimize the opportunity for this virus to spread from person to person. And you can see in Europe and other countries that it can get out of hand if you don't be very aggressive up front. And that's what we are doing in Lagos. We're being extremely aggressive, throwing a lot of resources at ensuring that we are able to throw the net around all the contacts of people that we think have the virus and who we have proven to have the virus. So we've thrown the net around all the contacts of the index case, and we're now throwing the net around all the contacts of the secondary case, so that when you add those 2 together, we're limiting the opportunity for this virus to spread.
Meanwhile, in neighboring Ogun State, the government is calling for calm in the face of the detection of a second case of coronavirus in Nigeria, with the assurance that the situation is under control. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka, gave the assurance while confirming the second case traced to the state. She says other 39 contacts who are currently being monitored daily at the state's isolation center have not come up with any symptoms.
No reason to panic. We need to remain calm. As mentioned, we have identified all the contacts and they are quarantined. They are in a known location, being monitored daily by qualified doctors, and none of these individuals have actually shown any symptoms. So, Ogun State, I will reiterate, we've responded well. The disease is contained and we need to continue to remain calm.
Well, Zimbabwe is searching for a man who was due to be tested in a hospital but absconded before the test was carried out. Officials say the 26-year-old had entered Zimbabwe from Thailand in February. He was referred from a private clinic to Wilkins Hospital in Harare on March 8th after complaining of fever and sneezing. Zimbabwe has no confirmed cases of coronavirus, and although he did not meet the World Health Organization case definition of a suspected case, health authorities say he was still earmarked for a COVID-19 test due to intensified surveillance that the country has adopted. However, follow-up efforts to his home address have been initiated and a police report has been made. And Egypt has stepped up its action to contain the coronavirus in the popular tourist destination of Luxor following an outbreak of the disease on a River Nile cruise ship. At least 45 coronavirus cases have been detected on the ship since it arrived in Luxor, and a German tourist who died on Sunday in a hospital in the Red Sea resort of Hurghada had visited the southern city. Egypt has reported 55 cases in all. Health authorities have also begun sanitizing hotels and cruise ships in Luxor. Tourists and staff have not been allowed in or out of hotel facilities or cruise ships until the health workers finish the sanitization and testing.
No, I hear some stuff, yeah, of course, but I'm not that worried, to be honest. But maybe it's just my opinion, but I'm not worried.
Why do you think people should not be worried?
I don't know, because I don't feel it's something that serious. I know it's something serious, but it's just like a flu or... So I'm not worried. I know that it's something so important and we should like be a little worried about it, but I don't feel that it's something so big now.
I mean, I was worried initially, but also I choose to come because I want to not be afraid. And also I've been paying attention to the CDC website and following the guidelines of, you know, washing your hands, not touching your face, things like that. And when you travel on the plane, to try to wipe down the seats and the countertops of where the food gets put on. So I've been just trying to follow the guidelines.
I am actually not that worried. I know it affects a lot of people, and but for myself, I'm not that worried actually.
Let's move to South Africa now. The High Court in South Africa has dismissed the findings of an anti-corruption watchdog that said President Cyril Ramaphosa had deliberately misled Parliament over a campaign donation. Last year, the public protector, Busisiwe Mkhwebane, said Mr. Ramaphosa should be investigated over a $36,000 donation he had received from a local company, Bosasa, during his campaign to become the leader of the governing party, the ANC. She also said he should be investigated for possible money laundering. In a ruling that will be a significant boost for the president, the High Court found that her findings were irrational and unlawful, and that Mr. Ramaphosa did not need to disclose his campaign funding in Parliament. To another legal matter, convicted rapist Nicolas Nino has lost an application to petition a higher court to appeal both his conviction and sentence. Last year, Nino was sentenced to life in prison for raping a then 7-year-old girl at a restaurant in Pretoria in 2018. While he confessed to the crime, he denied having planned it, saying she walked in on him in the bathroom where he was taking drugs. During the trial, the Gauteng High Court found that Nino had misled the court and heard witnesses who testified that he had stalked the girl in the playground for some time and followed her into the restaurant toilet. Dismissing his application for leave to appeal on Tuesday, Judge Mokine Mosopa ruled that there was no reasonable prospect of a successful appeal, adding that he did not believe another court would reach a different finding. Let's speak now to our South Africa Bureau Chief, Betty Divya, to get more on this story. Hello, Betty. Thank you for speaking to us.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So what are the highlights from today's court hearing on Nicolas Nino's case?
Well, you've said it all. He which is within his rights, he tried to appeal, to apply for leave to appeal the judgment or some of his. Remember, he confessed or he admitted, he pleaded guilty. So some aspects of his conviction and sentencing, he tried to get some relief from that. So what actually happened, that application was heard last Friday and the verdict came out today. He tried to get, allow the court the sentence in which is the procedure here, give him space to go over to the Supreme Court of Appeal to, for them to revisit his matter. So now he doesn't have that, and he's looking at options. His lawyer has reacted to it and said he's waiting for the next instructions from their client.
All right, and how are other South Africans reacting to this outcome, especially the families involved in this?
His family, of course, his mom has been pleading and saying he's not a rapist and that he just made a mistake. Of course, the family of the young girl who was assaulted and many of the social, some of the social groupings and people are actually questioning the audacity to, seek some due sentence probably, and for them to look at it in any other way. They're happy with the judgment that the court has come to, or has, even regarding his application for leave to appeal the judgment. But many are happy, are upset that it's even bothering to question what the judge during that sentence, conviction and sentence.
All right, last year in 2019, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. Now that his appeal, has been dismissed, is this the end of the road for him?
No, it's not if he decides to go further. The way the constitution is in the country, if now that this judgment has happened, he still has a right to petition that higher court directly, that's the Supreme Court of Appeal, to say, look, I didn't get what I asked for at the Pretoria High Court. So maybe you can force the court to listen to me and give me space to go to the Supreme Court of Appeal for what I want. So he still has that option. But remember, he's using legal aid. And his lawyer says he's waiting to hear what next. Is he going to leave it at that point, or is he going to, go through that his right to petition the Supreme Court of Appeal directly?
All right, Betty, we'll just have to wait and see how it all pans out. But thank you so much for speaking to us, our South Africa Bureau Chief, Betty Divya.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're moving to Egypt, where a military court has sentenced 112 people to life in prison on terror-related charges. The defendants were accused of involvement in 14 operations, including attacks on police checkpoints and the attempted murder of an assistant public prosecutor. Those in the dock were alleged to be members of the Hams militant movement. The Egyptian authorities regard it as an armed wing of the Muslim Brotherhood, which the military ousted from government in 2013. You're watching Network Africa on Channels Television. Still to come on the program. Sculptor chisels his way to global prominence with his works. Please stay with us.